The Israeli government is pressing ahead with consolidating its illegal occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. And nowhere is this illegal effort more pronounced than in occupied East Jerusalem. Israel is meeting a very little pushback from the international community. This is despite very clear and authoritative opinion from the international bodies and human rights organizations about the illegality of Israel's occupation and the reality of a system of apartheid that is being imposed on every and each one of us as the Palestinian people. The situation is especially acute in Jerusalem, which Israel has illegally annexed, as you all know. While Palestinians native to the city are, in theory, granted residency rights, they are so in name only. Since 1967, more than 14,000 Jerusalemites have had their residence revoked at the discretion of the Israeli occupation authorities, forcibly displacing them from their homes, from their town, from their city. Meanwhile, the denial of refugee rights is barely mentioned. And remember, the Shu'afat refugee camp encapsulates the two most significant issues of the people of Palestine: Jerusalem and the refugees, the right of residence. You're looking at them right this moment. So the Shu'afat refugee camp, and that's the significance of the event today. If you want to choose one place that represents the heart of the Palestinian issue, it's them, because they sit in our occupied capital and they were forced out of their homes in the events of the Nakba, 1947 to 1949. And as you may know, Shu'afat was created in 1965 to take up the overspill from the Muaskar camp in the Jerusalem's old city. The camp's more than 16,000 registered residents today are, in other words, effectively refugees twice over. They were made refugees in the Nakba and made refugees again in 1965. The efforts to de-Palestinianize, if I may use that term, Jerusalem runs against the grain of the city for more than 1,400 years, as it stood as an example of religious tolerance, of acceptance, where Muslims, Christians, and Jews could pray in peace and with dignity. Compare that to the actions of the Israeli military when they invaded Al-Aqsa during the holy month of Ramadan this year, firing tear gases and stun grenades at worshippers. Compare that to the regular harassment of Palestinian Muslims and Christians, not only from the military, but from the unhinged settlers living illegally in the occupied city. So regular has these intimidations become that the highest church leaders in Jerusalem have publicly called on Israel's government to rein in the Jewish extremists behind all these attacks, even though they and we all know that these settlers are being empowered and enabled by the very government that is supposed to restrain them. The rules, however, do not apply equally to Palestinians, apparently, and especially not to Palestinian refugees. Should I invoke Ukraine here? The rules seems not to be applied equally. Seems to be a playground for the powerful. This inability and unwillingness to hold Israel accountable is not logical either. It will do nothing to deter Israel, and it will also do nothing to deter us. It will do nothing to deter Israel, and it will absolutely do nothing to deter us. We know our rights, and we are not going anywhere. Look at them. As the brave people of Shu'afat refugee camp so humbly demonstrates, we are, always have been, and will always remain steadfast. And where governments fear to tread, people will fill the vacuum. People will fill the vacuum. If the United Kingdom government will not stand up for law and justice, we are confident, Hillary, that the British people will not be so cowed.